Hi everyone, it's David Wheeler at Wycombe Wanderers and you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. This week, have we got a show for you? Well, we do have a show every week, but this week in particular...
It's good.
It is good. It's quite a promise, isn't it?
The others are rubbish, this one's good.
If you don't hear any others, listen to this one. We'll be catching up with Phil in a few moments' time with our pre-match briefing. We'll look ahead to the visit of Oxford United on Saturday. We'll look back briefly as well against that frustrating defeat up at Bolton, conceding late again, and... But
Luke scored a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. There were many positives to come from that experience. So we'll catch up with manager Matt Bloomfield as well. From Wycombe Wanderers Women, we'll hear from Jessie Poulter, who has played for the under-18s, the under-23s, whom she captains, and also has made a number of appearances in the first team too. We'll catch up with back with the men, Jack Grimmer as well, who missed the trip to Bolton with a calf strain, but he spoke to us.
Captain
calf
Jack.
Strain or not. Doesn't matter. We can still get to speak to him if his strain is calved. We'll be, and also I'm quite excited because thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, a first for the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Many a time we've spoken to a Wycombe Wanderers ex-player, sometimes live, sometimes pre-recorded, but on this occasion, in person. Graham Bressington will be with us.
We should say happy birthday to JDT as well.
Oh yes.
The week.
A very large milestone of a birthday.
25?
Although he says what we read might not necessarily be accurate. But yes, a big happy birthday to JDT for this week as well, celebrating. So very much looking forward to the next hour. But first, let's bring you Phil's chat and start on what happened on Tuesday. And as we mentioned, some positive and a number of takeaways from it.
There were a couple of takeaways because there was some services on there and on the way back. Very long journey for a Tuesday night. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't the takeaways you were after. But the takeaway from the game, well, Wycombe played really well, but didn't take their chances. And we all know what happens when you don't do that. And Wigan, I thought, were clinical. Their first goal was excellent in terms of the header. It was a lot to do from that position for Gethin Jones, and it was a really good header. And their second goal, which killed the game, obviously at the time it came, was really well executed by their substitute Bodvarsson as well. We did get the goal that we deserved, but obviously it was the last kick of the game, so therefore didn't really impact the result at all. But yeah, I think obviously we've gone up against a team who are sort of hunting the top two, in with a really good shout of automatic promotion. And if you'd have just sort of fallen out of the sky before kick-off and watched the game, you probably wouldn't have known which one was which. So there's positives there, of course, but at the time it was obviously quite deflating to lose the game, having played so well. But we all know it's a results business. We went into it off the back of a really good couple of results in the league. It was a shame we couldn't add to the points total, but heart to be taken from the performance, especially with the points gained in the previous two games. And now it's about rolling the sleeves up and getting stuck into Oxford. And Matt was pretty upbeat when I spoke to him after the game too.
I think that we created some real good chances to come away from home against a very good opponent. I think Ian's done a great job here, put a really strong squad together. You can see with the amount of changes they can make and still be as strong as they are. But I'm proud of the performance that we put in. I felt like we came to go toe-to-toe, and I think we did that. And we just lacked that last little touch, cutting edge in the top third of the pitch. Because I feel like we created some real good opportunities, especially to come away from home, create the chances we did. So we're obviously really frustrated not to take anything from the game.
And what about the opening goal as well from a set piece? More frustration there?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to keep using the word frustration because I don't think we should be negative on a night when we feel like we've played the way we have. But of course, disappointing to give away a goal from a set piece. It always is if you concede from a set piece. And then obviously the second goal gets brought back for a free kick when all those little decisions keep going against you in a second half where it changes the momentum. But I'm proud of the way the boys kept going, and we rightfully got a goal that we'd worked hard for. So little moments which unfortunately have ended up with us losing the game, but in terms of performance I think we should be pleased with that.
Hectic schedule and a few changes tonight. Talk us through those.
Yeah, Jack Grimmer had a sore calf from the game on Saturday, which is why he had to come off. Looking at Kane Vincent-Young's loading recently in terms of having a long time out of the team, come in and play some 90 minutes. It was discussed with the medical team that we felt that he would be a bit of a red flag tonight, so we made a couple of changes. GMAC as well was another one who's had high loads. We've got a really busy schedule, and we're proud of the squad we put together in January, and the only way to give those boys an opportunity is to play them at times. I spoke to a couple of managers who I'm close with over the weekend, and I just felt that after such a strong performance Saturday, the right thing was to do just to freshen up a couple with the ones that looked like they were risks. We have a duty of care to the boys as well. We don't want to, off the back of a good result, put people at risk who we feel that may be. But hopefully those boys will be available for the weekend. I think I stand by those decisions because it was the right thing to do. So yeah, obviously disappointing off the back of a defeat. You question everything and analyse everything, but we felt it was the right thing to do, and I think it gave us the energy. We played with energy and a freshness. So we'll have to see how the bodies are. We've got a couple of knocks in there, and we'll see and make sure we recover ready for the weekend, because we're really looking forward to the Oxford game at home on Saturday.
Ultimately, it was a consolation goal, but Wycombe have had their problems from the penalty spot of late. So, were you pleased to see that one hit the back of the net?
Of course, yeah, and for Lukey to step up and take another one. He's been so reliable over the years from the spot. But anyone who's willing to step up and take one from penalty, I think is fair play. So Lukey to go and do that. There's nothing less than we deserved, I don't think, to get on the score sheet. It's just a shame it didn't come 5 minutes earlier, because had it done so, we might have been able to go and get an equaliser.
Long trip home, but obviously big game on Saturday at Adams Park, the local neighbours, Oxford United, and you'll be looking to recreate the atmosphere from Saturday, going back into that one.
Yeah, it's up to us to recreate the intensity and energy in our performance, and I'm sure the supporters will be looking to turn up and really cheer us on in what's a big game for the club. So yeah, we'll be ready, we'll recover right, we'll get ourselves ready to go. I dare say there might be a couple of changes, because there'll be some tired legs after the game tonight. With this intense schedule, we have to make sure that we're fresh and ready to go in every game. So yeah, it's up to us to get the intensity ready for the weekend, and we look forward to doing so.
I think it really feels as well, from hearing the manager speak there, that that result and that performance really hasn't derailed the momentum that is building, or has been building from the recent Cup and League performances.
Yeah, look, he's been pretty consistent throughout the season in terms of his approach, isn't he, about looking for the performance, and if that's there, then the results do come. Obviously, we had a long period where the wins weren't coming, and it was fine margins, and you can probably file that game in the same category, which I think, had that been against the team in the bottom half of the table, would have been concerning. But I think the manner of the performance, the fact that we've had quite a large rotation in January in terms of players in and out, and hopefully we could be more clinical on Saturday. We certainly were last Saturday against Peterborough, and if we can take that attitude and clinicality into the Oxford game, we should be okay. Oxford are a team that are doing well this season. Well, not as well as they started out, but they're in the top six. They're in the hunt. Their new manager, they've changed in this season, has had a window, so they're going to be looking to sort of gain some momentum now as we enter the final straight. But it's a bit like the Peterborough game, isn't it? Whenever these games come up in a season, they're tasty games, because us and Peterborough seem to have a bit of a friendly needle, which is always good and adds a bit of spice. And Oxford, although they will absolutely insist they're not our rivals, they're our neighbours. And, there'll be people who will go to work on Monday who will work with Oxford fans, and vice versa. And that's where the fun comes. And it's why it's really important that Wycombe Wanderers win that game, so those fans can go into work on Monday and continue to lord it over our neighbours from up the road.
And it's been shown recently as well, really important, and it makes such a difference to go ahead early in a game and to get some extra goals as well, so it doesn't matter quite so much if goals are conceded late on.
Yes, yeah, a few people sort of whispered the Gormania word around Adams Park after the game on Saturday, because there was certainly a whiff of that, because we sort of cruised into a 3-0 lead, and then in the blink of an eye it's back to 3-2 with 21 minutes to go, and it's looking incredibly open. You think, blimey, what's going to happen here? And the substitutes really made a big impact, and Wycombe were able to steer the game back towards Wycombe in terms of momentum and add the goals. It must be said, assisted by some of the errors of their goalkeeper too, but you've still got to take the chances. Again, the high press really worked. It's no secret from the last game against Peterborough, their keeper struggled with that. He certainly struggled with it again on Saturday, and the game plan worked. And I think everyone sort of across the team had a really, really good game. I thought Dale Taylor probably had his best game Wycombe Wanderers. Didn't score, but he was instrumental in so much in that 10 role, and he had some really good moments on Tuesday night as well. So it looks like we've got players coming into form. I think Matt Butcher's been a huge addition in the midfield. And he's really opened up some options for Wycombe Wanderers, which is good because it keeps the rotation there, keeps the fresh legs, it keeps the competition for places very much alive. But it also allows Freddie Potts to be that little bit more creative. It takes the defensive shackles away from him a bit as well. There's always going to be that part of his game, but he can also look forwards a bit more too, and he's such a good player that I think Matt Butcher's really bringing it out of him, a bit like Josh Scowen was. And, that stat that Josh Scowen and Freddie Potts, I think, have only played 60 minutes together, I think once since October. And lo and behold, that was the run where we didn't really win any games in the league. And is that a coincidence? Probably not. So I think the additions have been excellent, and we're set now for hopefully a period of consolidation and moving up the table. And also, let's not forget a potential of a trip to Wembley, one game away from Wembley, big cup semi-final next week too.
You get the sense fans are quite excited by the prospect of what Richard Coney could do next, or any of the other new signings as well, for that matter.
Yeah, Berily Labala, his pressing when he came off the bench on Saturday, instrumental for Wycombe's third. And he really puts himself about. He had a glorious chance, didn't he, to open his Wycombe account on Tuesday night, and got it on target, but it was probably too comfortable of a save for his liking. But hopefully that first goal will come, because the work rate and the attitude seems to be absolutely spot on. So hopefully that can really, if we can get Berily kicking as well. Richard just looks fantastic, doesn't he, in terms of his running, his pace, his intelligence on the ball. He's just one of those players that seems to make things happen. And there's the element of the unknown about him as well, obviously, because of the level he's come from. There won't be a huge amount of people who know more about him. Obviously, that's going to erode as games go on and people can get a good look at him. But yeah, he's just been excellent. The assist on Saturday for Jack Grimmer was excellent. And, he really sort of put the defenders through their paces. And, Matt's doing the right thing. He's managing him and managing his minutes and not putting too much pressure on, making sure that we're sort of developing him, his all-round game as well. But I've been really impressed with his sort of defensive ability at corners as well, something that Sam Vokes and formerly Akinfenwa used to do superbly for Wycombe too. And it looks like Richard Kona's got that in his locker, which is a big plus too.
It sets up nicely, doesn't it, for a big occasion and game on Saturday. You've got a team coming who are in the top six in the table, as you say, and also a really special occasion for the club and supporters to be able to commemorate and celebrate the life of Adam, who was obviously taken far too early, but to really show great support to his family and loved ones as well. Yeah,
I think it's a fantastic gesture by the club, and Adams Park, the placing of the apostrophe is hugely important. But even more so on Saturday, because I think it just shows you that a football club is a family. When you support a football club, you become something bigger than yourself. You're part of all of that. Adam's family are season ticket holders. He loved football. He loved Wycombe Wanderers, and we don't know what his family are going through right now. It must be absolutely devastating for them. And if there's any comfort to be had from the football club, hopefully that can provide some distraction and some comfort, as I say. But also, it's people I didn't know Adam, but I've got a young son, and it really hits home. And people will feel that, and they'll feel that we need to pull together and in solidarity and show support for the family, and and hopefully they can take something from that, and there'll be some hard days ahead for them. But the football club will always be there. Adam's spirit will always be at Adams Park, and hopefully his family can see the link of the football club to their son and take it from there. But yeah, it's dreadfully tough times for them, and hopefully on Saturday he can get a really lovely tribute. His teammates as well. We must mention his teammates who would have seen Adam be taken ill during a game. Being incredibly tough for them too, not only because they've lost a teammate and a dear friend, but also to see that happen on a pitch. Thoughts to them as well, and hopefully on Saturday, I'm sure it will be a wonderful tribute, and hopefully a fitting game as well, and Wycombe can turn on the style.
It must mean so much to his family as well, for the players to have sent their condolences on social media, for the manager to speak, and for the club, as you say, to do so much in his memory.
Yeah, it's the human reaction, isn't it? And we're very fortunate at Wycombe that we have players who are connected to the fan base. They understand, and it puts everything in perspective, doesn't it? Because football is the most important thing of the non-important things, but life, family, and everything is so much more important. But football kind of knits it all together. And we've got footballers who are very emotionally intelligent here, who understand that. We've got people who, their fathers, their parents, they understand. It may just be a message, it may just be words, but it can mean a huge amount to people. And like I say, we're lucky to have good players here who understand that.
Real pleasure to speak to you. Great message. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Cheers, Colin.
Great catching up with Phil, and you can hear more from that interview with the manager on the website and on Wanderers TV. We'll chat to Graham Bressington in a few moments' time. But first, the Chairgirls, Wycombe Wanderers Women, unfortunately defeated at the weekend, and I've been catching up with Jessie Poulter, who has not only played for the under-18s, captained the under-23s, but also made some first-team appearances as well.
It's been amazing. It's such an incredible opportunity to step up. It's been a very different season because I've got the opportunity to play for the under-18s first team and my under-23 team, but the first team is just amazing. All the girls are so supportive, so it's been really, really good.
How have you found their different experiences?
The under-18s are a great team. They're really technical, so it's just, and then my under-23s are amazing. They're so supportive and we have such a good bond, so the playing with them is just incredible. And then the first team is just a whole new experience because obviously it's a bit more women's football. So I'm 17 and I'm trying to step into women's football, which is difficult, but the girls really support you through it, and it's been really, really good.
Have you found it a real step up, or has the transition been quite smooth for you?
Well, the coaches have just helped me a lot. I know my first game, I definitely struggled when we played Ascot. I think it was the first game of the season in the league. I was definitely trying to keep up with the pace, which was hard, and then the physicality was a lot different. But I think I'm getting there, and the girls are helping, so it should be all good soon.
And of course, you captain the under-23s. Has that really helped as well with sort of settling in? And do you find that you bring some of those qualities into the first team as well?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I definitely know I'm trying to be more of a leader, bringing it from the 23s game. And obviously, I don't want to say too much on in the first team because I'm not fitting in exactly how they want me to, and I'm learning how to. But being able to talk to Bobby, who's an amazing captain, and then learning off her, and then trying to do what she does in her game, has helped me bring it into the first team game.
Have you noticed your own progress too?
I'm quite hard on myself usually, but I know my dad and obviously the coaches have told me that I've been fitting in well. So I hope to see it in my own game a lot more. I hope to improve more and more so that I'm able to see it myself, but I'm always quite hard on myself.
And are the sort of standards of opposition very different, say, for the first team to the under-23s?
I mean, it's a step up because I think they're just a bit more technical. I think in some aspects they're quite similar, but in others it's like the professionalism is there more, especially in the leagues and the competitions they play in, like playing Bournemouth, you can just see that they have tactics and we have to face those tactics and amend to it. So our strategies have to fit in with theirs, and just it's a lot more professionalism in the first team's game.
It seems a strange thing to say, but do you feel really quite experienced? Because, as you mentioned, you're only very young, but you've been at the club a couple of seasons now, and you had time at Watford as well.
I've been experienced, but only it's not been adults football. So I've been playing in the JPL, where the girls are very, very technical. But then this season is my first time properly stepping up into women's football. So I'm not experienced in that sense. I've just learned from other players, and I think that's helped me a lot.
And obviously Carl was at Watford as well. It must be great to be sort of working with him again.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was only 15 when he was at Watford as head coach, so I didn't really spend much time with him, but I heard he was a great coach. And then being able to actually be coached by him was really, really good and helped me a lot because he makes me see a different side of the game.
And obviously last season was a real sort of season of transition, I think, for the first team. But this season feels much more kind of established and, making great strides, hopefully towards, that top part of the table.
Yeah, it's been really inspiring because I've heard that they weren't getting anywhere near Bournemouth in previous games, but now we're getting closer and we managed to beat them 2-1. And I think that's amazing. And I think next season they might be able to move up, and that's really what Wycombe are wanting.
And do you feel sort of within the team that you're, we talked about your own kind of personal game, but do you feel that the team as a collective is getting nearer and nearer to that standard as well?
100%. I mean, bringing in Danny as a coach has really helped. Like, his strategies are incredible, and I think the girls are really picking it up and just learning from them. And you can see them taking it aboard, and we put it into our game, and we're coming out with closer wins, and we just need to finish them off really and get those goals. And I think they've been amazing, and they know exactly what they're doing now. So it's just improvement from here.
It was also disappointing to have that cup defeat on Sunday, but so many positives to take from the performance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just didn't take our chances, but it definitely wasn't a uneven game. We definitely could have won and gone through to the semis, but it's just unfortunate. It wasn't our day.
And have you learned a lot as a team as to the progress that you've made and the opposition that you faced this season?
Well, we've learned a lot from other teams. I know Bournemouth, especially, because obviously I played against them, but they're such an incredible team, and we can see how they work together and they bond and they gel. And I think we just need to improve little aspects of our game and then learn from other teams, and we'd be able to be just as good as them. So it's been amazing.
And it must feel quite a nice sort of period for yourself, because we mentioned that you're only 17, but there must be kind of role models and players that you look up to in the first team, but also some that find you quite inspiring as well, especially in the under-18s and the under-23s that you captain as well.
I hope so. I mean, I try my hardest as a captain, but yeah, no, I just try and lead. And I know even the girls, I learn from them. Even the under-18s I can learn from. They're just all incredible players, and I know they all have massive potentials. So I'm just learning from everywhere, and I hope they're learning from me as well.
And what would you like to achieve personally and for the team, going into these last 5 games of the season?
I hope we can go top 3, top 4 of the league for the first team, and then I know my under-23 team, I don't think we can win the league anymore, but I know we can get top 3. So just top of the league would be great, because we put in so much effort this season.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Second part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show still to come on this week's programme. We'll catch up with defender Jack Grimmer ahead of the visit of Oxford United this coming Saturday, which, among the significant aspects of the game, sees Mark West come to the Legends Lounge. You'll have the opportunity to hear him in a question and answer session, and see him as well. But also, speaking of hearing and seeing, a former colleague of Mark West, someone who played with him at schoolboy level and also at Wycombe Wanderers as well. I'm very pleased to welcome to the studio, in a Ex-Players Association Wycombe Wanderers Show first, Graham Bressington. Hello, sir.
Hello there, very pleased to meet you.
It's a real pleasure to have you on. Graham Bressington of Stokenchurch. It sounds quite grand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not though, I can assure you.
And we talked there about your association with, we'll talk obviously with your association with Wycombe Wanderers, but your association with Mark goes back to sort of pre-war. I mean, the Falklands War, admittedly, but a time when you played at High Wycombe Schoolboys.
Yeah, I mean, we started playing against each other when we were probably about 6 or 7 years of age, and then started to play together from the age of 9 onwards, really. So, and with the English schools and all the way through to winning the English schools trophy when we were under 15s, which was, a great achievement for all of us. The likes of myself, Mark, and Kevin Keane as well, that came on and played for Wycombe as well. So, yeah, very enjoyable days.
And I imagine none of you could have thought at that time, that you'd go on and have such, great careers, and especially your links with Wycombe.
Well, we probably all hoped that we would. But whether it was going to happen or not was another thing. But I'm sure we believed in ourselves at the time. So, yeah, very lucky to have achieved what we've achieved.
So what would you say is your earliest memory of your time at the club?
Very early was playing in the reserves when Timmy Anning was running the reserves and Mike Keane was running the first team, and just the away games and getting involved with the first team. And we used to have training sessions on a Thursday at the ground, and Mick had liked to do a pattern of play and get his first team ready and sort of get us to come and play against them in a game. And me and Anthony Dell decided this was our opportunity to kick the living daylights out of his brother and Howard Kennedy so that we could try and get a game for Saturday. Was not always successful.
And we spoke off air as well about the fantastic bond that you had with so many players around that time as well.
Yeah, it was probably one of the last eras where there were so many local lads that played football for Wycombe Wanderers, and all the people in the stands that used to come and watch, they probably had family members that were actually playing. And we didn't just play football together, we played cricket together, we drank together, we laughed together. So it was very much a really big family sort of orientated thing. So that's probably why we got results when maybe we didn't deserve results, because we worked very hard for each other.
And was there an extra sort of sense of pride, really, that you're representing your local team?
Yeah, massively. I mean, it's very rare nowadays where you get an opportunity to play for your local side, and you can see some of the top stars in the world, for people like Alan Shearer, the pride he has to play for his local side, Newcastle, and it's the same for us in a smaller way. We're a smaller club, but it's very proud to be a member of Wycombe Wanderers ex-players and to have played and represented my local town.
Well, I'm sure you're very modest in that you but a fantastic kind of contribution that you made and to the other players of that generation, that league win as well, and obviously the fantastic kind of camaraderie that you all share. Yeah, very much so. It's a shame we don't see a little bit more of each other, but our lives all drift away, and there's lots of people who don't live around here anymore, so that's why it's nice for me to come into the studio. I only live up the road, so it doesn't really matter. It's worked very well indeed. We've benefited enormously from this is a first from the Wycombe Wanderers Show. I'm very excited, as you can probably tell. But I guess it must be nice for you as well, in the position that you played, to be able to affect games from there so well as well. Yeah, but you need people to finish the games off, and all the sides in the country, in the world, are all looking for the centre forward to score goals. And you've mentioned his name earlier, and there's a gentleman that's scored so many goals for Wycombe Wanderers, it's unbelievable, in Mark West. And with him at the head of your game, you've got every chance of winning games. If you put it in the right place, Mark will score. Mark was an exceptionally good goal scorer. And did you know that from sort of really early on? Very much so, yeah. I mean, even from a young age. I could stand in the same positions of Mark and never score in my life, and Mark would be there and he'd score every time. It was a gift, a natural gift to him, and he was very, very good at it, which allowed us to win quite a few games. You have played in a number of positions, of course. Yes, you're going to ask me about playing in goal now. Yeah, I played in goal twice for Wycombe, and once was Gary Lester got injured at Farnborough in the warm-up, so I had to play the whole game. And the other game was against Bognor Regis when Gary got injured at half-time, and I had to come out for the second half. And probably the only thing I did was pick a free kick out of the net that Mickey Thomas had put in the top corner. But barring that, I did what I could. We didn't have sub-goalkeepers then, and a bench full of 6 or 7 different substitutions. We only had a couple, and so was that something that you kind of offered your services to, or were you selected to go in that position? It was it was a bit of a mixture. It's whether you say that you volunteered or you was the one that stood still when everyone went, here, do it. So, yeah, I don't mind going and go. I don't mind trying to help out, so I just did the best I could. And it's really nice speaking to ex-players from different generations, and you must find as well, when you attend the functions of the ex-players, and, each kind of almost decade has a real group that's really special. Yeah, there is, like you say, because it's a small club, it's the bond you have within the era of football that you play, and you stay friends for the rest of your life. And that doesn't change. And sometimes you meet people you haven't met for 10, 15 years, and you're straight back into taking the mick out of each other again and winding each other up and messing about, which is a lovely thing to do. It's almost unique, isn't it, football? Because I often joke that if accountants probably don't go, do you remember those spreadsheets we did years ago? They were fantastic, weren't they? Yeah, slightly more boring being an accountant, I would have thought, than playing football. But we're really, really lucky people that we've got an opportunity to do this for a living, and hopefully, some of the youngsters coming through will have the same opportunities that we've had. So I like to ask as well, does it feel like a long time ago that you played for the club, or does it feel like, kind of only sort of almost yesterday? Or when you go down there, you sort of remember things. I mean, Lokes Park was where I played most of my games, or all my games for Wycombe. I only played against Wycombe at Adams Park. So Adams Park doesn't mean as much to me perhaps as Lokes Park would, but I'm 57. It does seem ages ago. When I see him running about, I don't think I could do much of that anymore. And Lokes Park obviously has such great character, and the slope everyone talks about as well. Yeah, the slope, I don't know, was it about 11, 12 foot from one corner to the other? You had to play in a certain way at Lokes Park, but the pitch itself was immaculate. The ball always moved well, and Wycombe have always been renowned for knocking the ball about and playing attractive football. And are there any real games that actually stand out, and real occasions or experiences that you had, during your time at the club?
I suppose in the years when we won the Isthmian League, there's like the latter stages, the last 3 or 4 games when we was playing, when we went away to Bognor and won on a miserable day and things like that. They're the ones that stand out because they're the ones that you've worked really hard to achieve, and they're not always games that you're the best side in, but they're the game that you've wanted it more and worked hard to do it.
And did it feel like it was a real great grounding for the career that you went on to have after your time at the club too?
Massively, because I played with some really, really exceptional players at Wycombe, and there's been lots more exceptional players to come after me as well. So, yeah, it's a brilliant club, very good club.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's I think in a way it's so hard to kind of put your finger on what it is, but a real kind of family atmosphere, and as you say, so many people that have played there keep coming back.
Yeah, very much so. And I walk down there now, and although I've played for other sides, and I walk in there is people that remember me playing and always come up and speak to you, always have got good things to say about you, and it makes you feel good.
Do you appreciate that at the time? Do you think when you're playing, you think what kind of an effect you'll have on someone's Saturday or midweek?
I don't think you try and think about it too much, because otherwise it detract from what you're trying to do. But upon reflection, you look there and you have affected people's lives, and you have, hopefully when we've won more games, people have gone away feeling really happy. But it's not always the same when you lose.
No, it's quite extreme, isn't it, football, in that sense? You can either make someone's day or just...
It's very black and white, football. You're either good, you're bad, you've won, you've lost. There's no middle areas really with it.
And we touched on, we've spoken to Mark on the show as well, and the fact that he'll be at the game against Oxford on Saturday, and people say legendary figure, but you say the goals that he scored and the success he had at the club as well.
I mean, you've got the likes of Mark and Bodger Horseman, the 2 greatest goal scorers that have scored for Wycombe. I mean, each era will tell you someone that is exceptionally good, but I don't think I've met many people better than Mark in front of goal in my career at any level, to be honest.
And such a time as well, if you similar to myself, when you start following a club at that age or at that kind of stage, and to see someone like him, being so prolific.
Yeah, they're very enjoyable, but it allows you to have confidence that your side's going to have an opportunity to win the game. Because if you don't score goals, you're not winning many games.
I can't usually say prolific as well. I feel like
yeah. Even with them new teeth,
it worked quite well. I was brave to take it on, and also fantastic that, as you say, it's kind of the career that you went on to have after your time at Wycombe as well. You must look back with such pride at that too. We were talking when you came to watch Lincoln play and you were in the away end.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange.
Quite conspicuously.
Yeah, it's strange really being a local boy, being in the away end, but I've got fond memories of Lincoln City Football Club. I was captain there for a few years, and I've got lots of friends up there even now. So, yeah, I've enjoyed my time at every club I've been at, and I've always tried to give my best for the team and the supporters, and that's what I've always tried to do. So that's hopefully why people get on all right with me.
And really nice that you played as well for other clubs locally and coached other clubs locally as well.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to go down and play for Chalfont St Peter and Marlow, and managed with a very good friend of mine, Kevin Stone, who actually played for Wycombe Wanderers himself in his time, but was mainly remembered, I suppose, for all the good cup runs that Marlow had at the time against West Brom and Tottenham Hotspur and people like that.
We should ask after your health as well, because we're very lucky to have you in more than one way.
Yeah, I've been through the mill a little bit. I had an heart attack about 3 years ago, but I mean, I really need to probably talk to Glyn Creaser, because he's had a few problems recently as well. Perhaps we can start talking, instead of talking about drinking and going out, we can talk about medication and how we're feeling.
It's a stage in life you get to when you realise that's the topic of conversation.
Very much so. So as long as we're not looking at the obituaries, we'll be all right.
And you were saying that he's someone that you've played against as well?
Yeah, Glyn was a very good player. I played against Glyn. He's strong. He was a good captain. He looked after his players. He looked after his side. He's a very good man.
And Wycombe's obviously a team that you've always looked out for since your time at the club.
Yeah, always results. Saturday, you'd always you'd be very engaged in what you're doing yourself for your own side, but you'll always look for results for Wycombe, and I'd always look for Wycombe and Lincoln now.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much indeed for coming in, and hopefully that we'll get a good result for Mark to be at the Legends Lounge on Saturday against Oxford as well.
Well, hopefully against Oxford we can get a good win and move ourselves up the table.
Are you going to that game as well?
I won't be able to make that game. I've got another commitment.
Well, hopefully we'll see you at Adams Park very soon.
Very soon. Thank you very much.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much. Graham Bressington, the first Wycombe Wanderers ex-player to be with us in the studio on the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Hopefully the first of many.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show. We'll lots to reflect on as we build up to the game against Oxford United at home on Saturday. Also, of course, preparing for the Bristol Street Motors Trophy semi-final at Bradford on Wednesday night. Very much looking forward to that game too. But first, I've been speaking to defender Jack Grimmett, who unfortunately didn't make the trip to... who did we play on Tuesday? I was going to say Brighton, that was the other week. Bolton, very similar sounding words, because of a slight injury that he picked up on Saturday. But as you'll hear, hopes to be fit for the visit at Oxford on Saturday.
Yeah, so I just got a little bit of a tight calf. It's the calf that sort of injured earlier on in the season, and it just randomly decided it wanted to sort of stiffen up, and I was kind of a bit worried about it. But thankfully, it seems to be all okay. As you said there, I missed the game, unfortunately, on Tuesday night against Bolton, which, you don't want to miss any games, to be honest with you. So I was gutted not to be up there with the boys, but it's one that hopefully settles quickly, and hopefully I can be back out there on Saturday.
Because it feels a bit of a shame to obviously interrupt your momentum. Obviously, I'd be keen to talk about the team, but I think we should focus on you for a bit. And it just seems to be going so well for you at the moment with goals and such great performances at the back, either at centre back or your more regular position. You featured in teams of the week. I spoke to a fan recently as well who's saying he's noticed, and other people that he sits with at the ground, how your game has come on. Is that something that you've noticed personally as well?
Yeah, I think it's just coming with that sort of, it's just like anything. I think football, I like anything in life, is a confidence thing. And I think, not that I didn't have it before, but I just think I've been given a platform now to, maybe with the armband as well. I just think it all adds up to a lot of people around you believing in you. And I think, contrary to the league table, I feel like we've really assembled a team of great players. And, when they're telling you you're doing well and the manager's telling you you're doing well, I think it does nothing but build your confidence up. And I think it's, every player goes out there and plays their best when they're happy, and that's no different from myself. So, I am going through quite a rich vein of form, I think, at the minute. And, if I can chip in a couple more goals between now and the end of the season, I'll be delighted. But, I think the main thing is that, recently results have picked up, and we've started to get the results that we feel that we've deserved, because there's only so long that you can say, oh, we're unlucky, oh, things aren't going our way. But, at the end of the day, you need to be winning games of football, and that's what it's all about.
Do you think it's linked to what you've been putting on your porridge?
I would like to think so. I would like to think it's the secret ingredient to the whole, to everyone playing well, to be honest. I've upped the intake of it, and that's why I've been scoring, and I would love to tell you that's the case. But it's probably the opposite, to be honest. I've cut it out, and now I've started scoring and playing better. But it's definitely something much loved down at the training ground, for sure.
And just obviously not just your own performance, but defensively as a unit, there's been some really, really solid displays recently.
Yeah, there has been. I think we feel like we've been quite solid, but even like on Saturday, you're kind of cruising through the game, and you were 3-0 up at that point, and I think the boys still feel, especially the defensive boys, that we feel solid, but we're not getting the clean sheets that that we should be. I think it's one of those things that, as a defender, it's been amazing scoring goals recently, but I pride myself on clean sheets and being solid defensively to let the front boys go do their stuff. And it is something that this season we haven't managed to do quite as often as previous years. I think previous years we've sort of had a base to sort of build from, that this season unfortunately just hasn't been there. And I think it is something that we've been looking at a lot, but it's then can be sort of counterproductive, that the more you focus on it, the more you concede, which is frustrating. But I've no doubt that we'll get the balance right. And I like I said, every defender prides himself on being sort of solid and secure first.
And do you take encouragement from the fact that you haven't had many heavy defeats? They've all been quite narrow losses, the ones that you have had.
Yeah, I do. I think even last night, I think the game ends 2-1, and I think if we hadn't, I don't think, but I know obviously if we hadn't conceded the second goal against Bolton, then you probably nick a draw. And I just think it's frustrating. I mean, it is good because we are always in the games, but it adds that extra layer of frustration because we feel that we're very close, and we feel like we've been very close in a lot of games. And it's not just one or two decisions or late goals that go against us. It's been, a good handful of times. And don't get me wrong, there is a reason for that. I'm not saying that we're unlucky to concede late goals. There is a reason that we're conceding late goals. And, it's something that we've been working on as well in the training ground, in the meeting room. And it is something that we want to fix. And because we know that how much points it's cost us this season, and we know that our season in the league would look completely different if we had managed to stamp that out of the game. So it is something that we have been working on, and it's, like you said, we're always in every game, which it shows us that we know that we're close, and we just have to keep doing the right things.
You say there is a reason. Is it just one thing, or is it a collection of things that leads to conceding late?
No, I think it is a collection of things. I think when the gaffer always says a goal's never normally one person's fault. Obviously you get the rare occasions that it is one person's fault, but it is a team game at the end of the day. And, normally when we concede, we watch sort of probably a minute to 30 seconds before the goal's conceded to see how it led to that moment. And, the late goals are no different. It's no one person's fault normally. And it's very much a lot of things going wrong at the same time that then end up with you conceding. But it has been fine margins this season. I feel like we've been punished for, and I feel like I'm in a very good place to say that, because I've been here for the last 4 years, and I've felt that at times we've gotten away with things that, when we've been defending backs against the wall, we kind of get away with things, and we've been very solid in things. But this season, I feel like we're getting punished for every little detail that's out of place, and we're having to work extra hard for every win at the minute. So it's something that, is frustrating, because I feel like we're having to work extra hard. But then again, when you win and you get the result, it's extra satisfying.
It must be really tricky to put your finger on, especially as a defender, because, as you say, there are so many variables, and, each game is different, obviously, and there must be so many different things where you think, oh, it could be that, or it could be that. Yeah,
absolutely. We go through, in the team meetings, and, we've had a good number of them, and we go through the goals, and it's frustrating, because it's like, if you did that and if I did this, and everyone is, and to be fair, it's probably a sign of the team that we've managed to assemble, that everyone sits there and puts their hand up straight away and saying, listen, I should have done that, and I could have done better at this, and and everyone takes real accountability, and I think that's how we move forward. But it is something that's frustratingly just been the story of our season so far, and hopefully we have enough time still to change it so that it isn't the story of our season, with big games coming up in the future. So it's, like I said, it's something to focus on but not get bogged down by.
And have you noticed there's been a real kind of process, or has there been just sort of one thing that kind of happened that's really led to the change in fortunes? Because it feels a bit like, we've endured quite a hard winter, but we're coming through spring now. There was that period where, just the one win in 17 league games, but then, things really started to improve and turn around. Obviously, you came out after one of the games, and GMAC spoke so passionately as well. And since then, things seem to be really improving. Obviously, you've got many players coming back from injury as well.
Yeah, I don't think anything really changed. I just think, the gaffer was, unbelievably positive all throughout the winter period and all throughout that run of games, and, all through the sort of tough period of, like you said, the one win in quite a long time there. And it was, I think, just the boys started to get that maybe a bit of belief. I think we were, going into games, and then things were going against us, and it just feels like a bit of a victim mentality. Whereas now I think we've got that bounce about us, and it's just got to be down to the gaffer. I mean, I've never seen someone so positive so consistently, and he believes in what we're doing so much that you can't help but believe in it. And I think it's, thankfully, we've now started to repay his belief in us with results and performances that marry up. But I think we're a long way off, I think, repaying the belief, because he's given us a lot this season, and he's taken a lot of stick, off the fans, because I think recently the fans think have become accustomed to us being a lot higher up the table, which us players, you ask any of the players that we signed in this summer, they didn't come here to be languishing in 15th, 16th. They want to be up towards the playoffs. So it is something that we've got a long way to fix, and we just need to keep churning out the performances, and I'm sure the results will follow.
It seems so easy, doesn't it, as a fan, just to say, "Oh, the players have lacked urgency," or they've not. But I guess it's difficult when you're on the field as well. You want to give the best impression and the best account of yourselves in each game.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting one because I totally get the fans' opinions when they said that sometimes that we looked like we're either tired or leggy or lacked urgency. And I think if you were winning games more often than we were, then you're allowed a performance like that. You're allowed, every so often, the boys looked leggy on Saturday, the boys weren't quite at it. But unfortunately, we were going through a phase that we weren't winning games. Now, we were putting in performances and not getting the wins, but then when we didn't put in the performance and didn't get the win, then it came with extra criticism, which is understandable because, the fans will say that you're not winning games, which I totally get. But I think the players tried to put it all into context and try to not bear such a heavy load because I think it's, inevitably it's only going to be detrimental to what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. And I think a big thing for us is with the players that we've now got in the team and the way and the style that we like to play, I think confidence is a massive thing. And, if the confidence is high, like you've seen in recent weeks in flying, then performances will marry up with that and we'll really get the points that we deserve. But, I think when we go through those harder phases, I think it is, something that we have to adapt to. And, whether that's changing up the style or whatever that is up to the gaffer. But it's, thankfully, like I said, we seem to be in a good spot at the minute, personally and as in a collective. We've found the results, I think, and, hopefully that can continue because, we're not under any illusion that we've cracked it. We still, after the Peterborough game, we're in there dissecting it before the Bolton game and, the hard work never stops.
There does seem to be so many positives at the moment, don't there? We talked about the defensively, but also, for example, the Gareth's goal against Cheltenham, that was fantastic. You think, that's what he does. And Sam scored more goals recently, and there seems so many chances being created as well.
Yeah, I think it's typical of any Wycombe team that I've played for since I've been here. I think the main ethos is throughout whoever's been in charge is that we're a better team when we're on the front foot and we're being positive, we're energetic, we're trying to create chances. And I think, in recent games, we've really seen that, 8 goals, before, 9 goals actually, including Tuesday nights against Bolton. But in 3 games just shows the firepower and the momentum that we can create. I think when we get the front players, the ball in the best areas, they've shown that they can do the business. And like I said, it's when the team is playing like that, I think that's definitely when you see us at our best. And I think now we've hopefully found a bit of a rhythm and a stride because it is a really tough period of fixtures. It's, you play a lot of the top 6 teams, top 8 teams. And I think the more that you can just go out there with the confidence, you're inevitably going to have a better chance of winning.
And so encouraging playing against the likes of Bolton and Peterborough, who are well up there to show that, you obviously can be competitive with them, which is great going into Saturday's big game at home to Oxford.
Yeah, I think that's probably another frustrating thing is that feel like we are so good at going toe-to-toe with the teams doing well in this league. And I've no doubt that those teams don't want to play us. But, maybe against the lesser teams or the mid-table teams is where we've slipped up a lot this season. And even when we went away to Oxford, away to Peterborough, at home to Bolton, the performances were there. It's just that we never got the win that we needed. And I think it's sort of another layer of frustration in the sense that we back ourselves against those teams, and maybe it's just we need to change our way of thinking when it comes to the not even the lesser teams. No disrespect, it's just more the teams further down the league.
And a cup semi-final just around the corner as well, a real lift for yourselves and also the fans too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really, really do hope for the fans' sake and our sake and the gaffer's sake that we can win that and get to Wembley. I've no doubt it's not the Wembley that everyone would have liked, having been in playoff finals in recent years. But, it's going to be a really, really tough game. Bradford they are maybe where they are in League Two, but that, I'd seen on Tuesday night they beat MK Dons. They've got goals in their team. They won 4-0 on that night. And it's going to be a tough game. They'll go up there, they'll probably pack it out and fill it out and be loud and boisterous. And, it's an atmosphere we'll have to deal with and stamp our authority on the game as best we can. But it's, it is a really tough game, but, with the prize of Wembley at the end of it in a cup final to look for, it's, in a season that things haven't gone our way, it would be something that would be very welcomed.
And just going back to this weekend, obviously a great opportunity for fans to support the team in what will be a huge game anyway, but also a lovely opportunity for supporters to really show their support of Adam Anker's family, and lovely that the club are renaming Adams Park Adams with an apostrophe in his memory this weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was such a tragic story that obviously we all heard about, and it's just something that you never ever want to hear about. It's such, as soon as the players heard, we wrote the messages to the family and things, and it was so nice to see the club come together as sort of one and really show the love and the support for this family, because I can't imagine how difficult times have been since it's happened. And like you said there, the club doing even small gestures, I've no doubt that everything helps during this tough time. And like you said there, the fans can get behind us, and nothing brings them together more than, I would think a win against our local neighbours. So it is a game that's got a lot on it, more than just in a footballing sense. And, I just hope that we can step up and do what's needed.
It must be so nice as well as a player, but obviously as a fan yourself, and obviously as a person too. But so nice that we're in football, you get supporters that support clubs, but clubs can support supporters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it always is, like you sort of alluded to there, it's always a one-way street that the fans support the club. But, we've had periods before, when I've been here, that the club's done creative gestures and done things to help the fans and to support families of lost ones. And I think it's the more I think it can be a two-way street, the better for everyone involved. And, that includes the players as well. And I think it's because you are inevitably all fighting for the same goal. The fans play their part, the players are out there, but, the fans most definitely are the sort of base of a club. I don't think there would be a single football club in the world that didn't have fans that would be successful. So I think they are definitely the sort of the crux of everything that we try and do. And I think the more that the club or the players can give back to the fans is, it's especially in occasions like this, is a beautiful thing.
I really appreciate your time. Fantastic to speak to you as always. Hopefully you'll be back on the pitch on Saturday, and wish you and the team all the best for that.
No, thank you very much, bud. Here's hoping, mate. Thank you.
Great chatting to Captain Jack. Fantastic. Great to have him on the show this week. Luke's back with us with the notice board section.
Thank you. Yes, Jack, who now just heckles producer Luke at me, which I feel is quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to shout Captain Jack back in. Would you like some breaking news?
Yes, please. Black Beauty's back for a new series.
The breaking news is at 7:57. The dubious goal panel have deemed that the first and fourth goals against Peterborough were own goals.
Ooh.
And therefore the strikes won't be officially credited to Kane or Sam.
Oh.
Boo. But they will be credited to Gareth McCleary, apparently.
All of them?
Oh, yeah, every goal from now on is all just going to be GMAC. Would you like some news for tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Wycombe Wanderers are going to be in the Eden Shopping Centre as
half term.
It is half term as part of the Green Eden activities. Joe Jacobson and Jasper Patterson will be making appearances. That's going to be between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. Near the Black Sheep Coffee.
Will they be in their green kits?
Oh, that's a good. Matt, if you're listening, get them in the green kits. There's a massive leaf. You can't miss it. Just head there. All the details on the website. As we've been hearing throughout the show, and you may have seen on social media as well, Wycombe Wanderers are renaming their stadium for 1 week only as a tribute to the 17-year-old who supporter Adam Ankers. They are changing it, and I've seen some of the signs today. Adams Park with an apostrophe. Not only are they going to be doing that, there's going to be a minute's applause ahead of kickoff on Saturday. The team are going to be wearing T-shirts with Adam's name on and squad number during the warm-up, and black armbands as well during the game. Those warm-up T-shirts are going to be used as a fundraiser through the foundation to raise money for Thames Valley Air Ambulance and Harefield Hospital as well. And we send, of course, all our best and thoughts to Adam's family as well. And there'll be more tributes from some of the Wycombe Sound team on the post-match show as well on Saturday after full time. Some other news from Adams Park as well is they're going to be screening the semi-final in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy at Adams Park in the Caledonian Suite. There is a golf day. It's back on the 26th of March, and there is a breakfast ahead of the Reading fixture as well.
I do like a breakfast.
We all like a breakfast. All of that available on the Wycombe Wanderers website as of today, www.fc.com.
There you go. Excellent notice board
section.
Thank you very much. With actual sound effects as well.
I know, yeah. Got everything this week.
Much to look forward to. We've got the whole game live, of course, on Saturday. Rob and team will be in the car park.
They will indeed.
Oxford United, the visitors. Set to be a special atmosphere, obviously with the tributes to Adam. Also, of course, a local derby And of course, Oxford among the teams in the playoff places currently. We've already taken on Peterborough and Bolton, are in the top echelons of the table. Echelons, that's good.
Forget you.
I know.
Another 5-2 would be good.
Fantastic to put a brilliant run together as well. And excellent build-up, of course, to Wednesday's game in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy semi-final. Only one game away from Wembley.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yes. Much to look forward to. Have an excellent week.
Come on, you Blues.